ASB, keeping New Zealand one step ahead and bringing you Nightline.
Tonight on Nightline, a blogger flouts name suppression laws again and says this won't be the last time. A teenager drowns in a river as her family watches on, unable to save her. Why a royal has been cleared of torture charges despite video evidence of the prolonged attack. And the photographer who's made a living for 53 years on 10 days' work shooting a young Elvis Presley.
Oh, baby, baby, baby.
This is Nightline with Samantha Hayes.
Kia ora, good evening. Police have confirmed tonight they will investigate a prominent Auckland-based blogger who has defied court suppression rules again and revealed the identity of a national figure charged with indecently assaulting a teenager. Cameron Slater is already facing 5 charges connected with breaching suppression orders. Lawyers say it's appalling, but Slater says this latest breach may not be his last. Michael Morra reports.
From his office in South Auckland, Cameron Slater makes around 10 posts a day on his blog that's read by thousands of New Zealanders. He's already facing charges for breaching suppression orders and could now be charged again.
The law's not working the way it was intended in 1985. We need to get real.
In his typically cryptic style, Slater used binary code to reveal the identity of a defendant who's been charged in Nelson with indecently assaulting a girl aged between 12 and 16.
In this case here, there's only possible really 3 or 4 people it could really be. It's totally unfair to have a name suppression in this case on one of them and cast aspersions on the others.
Suppression prohibits the publication of the name, address, occupation or any particulars likely to lead to any person's identification. But Slater says he felt compelled to do it because of the support he received from readers over the Christmas break.
In terms of comments on the blog, the support is, 50 comments to 1 in favour. In terms of emails, it's 100% in favour.
Slater's already facing 5 charges over messages he left on his blog, which police say revealed the identities of an entertainer and a former Olympian who had also been granted name suppression. Lawyer Chris Komeski says police should now have power to revoke Slater's bail.
Well, he's usurping the authority of the courts to consider all of the factual arguments for and against suppression.
Police are yet to say whether Slater could face further charges over this latest incident, but Slater himself, who's due back in court next week, hasn't ruled out naming more high-profile defendants and says he doubts police have sufficient evidence to convict him anyway. Michael Morra, 3 News.
There's a reminder that rivers can be silent killers after a woman drowned in the Hutt River north of Wellington. The woman was a weak swimmer and no one in her family was strong enough in the water to reach her in time.
Swimming ability is on the decline, and the fundamental, all New Zealanders should be able to swim and survive, if not to save themselves, but to possibly save a family member or a loved one.
Water Safety New Zealand says rivers account for 1/3 of all New Zealand drownings because they are often deeper than expected and have swift currents. It's been revealed that the police officer dragged under a stolen patrol car in Christchurch was the country's first officer to undergo a sex change. Christchurch police say a review is already underway of security around patrol vehicles at alcohol checkpoints after the police car was stolen so easily. Juliet Speedy reports.
Senior Constable Sarah Lurigid works full-time catching drunk drivers on the streets of Christchurch. She's also a transsexual. Lurigid was on the job in Hornby on Saturday night when a processed drunk driver stole a patrol car and dragged her 10 metres down the road. She'd reached in and grabbed the offender, who accelerated away, dragging her alongside the car. Luckily, she avoided falling under the wheels and suffered only minor head, leg and ankle injuries.
It's the last thing you want to happen to any of your staff members. It's really disappointing it has happened. Fortunate that the injuries were so moderate.
A 25-year police veteran, Sarah Lurigid used to be Stephen, but underwent surgery 5 years ago to become a woman, the first officer in New Zealand to do so. In court today, 22-year-old labourer Jamie Allen Sinclair faced charges of unlawfully taking a motor vehicle causing injury, driving with a suspended licence and unlawfully taking an unmarked police patrol car. He was bailed to his Christchurch home to reappear later this month. Police say it's not clear whether the patrol car's keys had been left in the ignition.
The security around patrol vehicles at alcohol checkpoints and elsewhere will be reviewed as a result of this, and how he's gained access to the patrol vehicle.
Stewart also said patrol cars couldn't really be locked up at checkpoints because they always had to be ready to pursue fleeing drunk drivers. Juliet Speedy, 3 News.